Hi, my name is Shailene.
And I'm Grace Diaco.
And we will be discussing about teaching with contrived experiences.
According to Edtech, we teach through a rearrangement of the raw reality, a specimen, a manageable sample of a whole, when direct experience cannot be used properly in its natural setting. At the end of this lesson, we will be able to explain the meaning of contrived experiences and use examples of contrived experiences in lesson development. But first, I would like you to watch the clip showing traditional teaching where students of this generation will generally find to be boring. Until about 300 years ago, most people believed that that the earth was formed quietly recently. Some considered that the earth was created in 400 BC, a date that was calculated from the number of generations of people listed in the Bible. In the 1880s, however, scientists began to realize that fossils were the remains of creatures which may have lived thousands of millions of years ago. They also came to understand that fossils represented the story of life on Earth. So anyone of you, can you determine the true age of rocks and fossils? None? As you can see in the video, the teacher did not use anything at all, just sitting there, talking boringly. So someone had this idea to bring something, a material to be used in the class, and so teaching with contrived experiences was born. So, when we say contrived experiences, but first, what does contrived means? The word contrived is defined as deliberately created rather than arising naturally. So, when we say contrived experiences, these are edited copies of reality and are substitutes for real things when it is not possible to bring or do the real thing in the classroom. It is also designed to simulate a real-life situation. Teaching with contrived experiences means that whenever we teach class, we use instructional materials or activities to catch the attention of the students. So, I will be showing you 6 examples of contrived experiences. Our first example is models. Models are a reproduction of a real thing in a small scale or a large scale, or the exact size but made of synthetic material. It is a substitute for a real thing which may or may not be operational. This is an example of models. Second is mock-up. Mock-up is an arrangement of real devices or associated devices created in such a way that representation of reality is created. One example is planetarium, in the sense that the order or the arrangement of the planets is shown and the real processes of the planet's rotation on their axis and the revolution of the planets around the sun are displayed. Another example is a toy plot. Here, the teacher can tell the students how to tell. Next is specimen. Specimen is any individual or item considered typical of a group, class, or whole. It is used as an example of its species or type for scientific study or display. Here are some examples of specimen. Fourth is objects. Objects may also include artifacts displayed in exhibits or preserved insect specimen in science. It helps us to link to the period of time and individuals that we have no tangible contact with. Here are some examples of objects.
Another examples of contrived experiences is simulation. What is simulation? Simulation is a representation of manageable real event in which the learner is an active participant, engaged in learning a behavior or applying previously acquired skills or knowledge. The learners learns best when they are actively experiencing something and apply their personal experiences. It may result a long-lasting learning. Here are the example of simulation. The last example of contrived experience is games. What is games? Games are forms of physical exercise taught to children at school, or is a play. Here are the examples of games.
Difference between games and simulations?
Yes, there is a difference between games and simulation. Games are play to win, while simulations need not have a winner. Why do we make use of contrived experiences? We use models, mock-ups, specimen and object to overcome limitation of space and time, to edit reality for us to be able to focus on parts or a process of system that we intend to study, to overcome difficulties of size, to understand the inaccessible, help the learners understand abstractions. Other types of contrived experiences. First is aquarium. Aquarium is a representation of plants and animals. Here's the example of aquarium. This is a fish aquarium. We can study the different species of fish in just a slab of glass. Terrarium. Terrarium is a representation of plants and animals on land. Here are the examples of terrarium. Aviary is a collection of live birds. Here's the example of aviary. Herbary. Herbary is a collection of live birds. Here's the example of herbary. Next is orchidarium. Orchidarium is a collection of orchids. Here's the example of orchidarium. And the last is herbarium. Herbarium is a collection of dried herbs.
Good evening, classmates. I am the presenter of Lesson 9, Teaching with Dramatized Experiences.
There are different forms of dramatized experiences. First are plays. Plays depict life, character, or culture, or a combination of all three. These are carefully rehearsed performances that require proper costumes and stage settings. Pageants are usually community dramas that are based on local history presented by local actors. These are performances made of scenes from historical events. Tableau. It is a French word which means picture. It is a picture-like scene composed of people against the background. Pantomime. A pantomime is the art of conveying a story through bodily movements. On its effect on the audience depends on the movements of the actor. Pantomime and tableau, with compared to a play and pageant, are less demanding when it comes to time and preparations. Puppets are instructional device wherein the puppet show can involve the entire group of students as speakers of parts, manipulators of the figures, and makers of the puppets. There are different types of puppet. First, shadow puppets. These are flat black silhouette made from lightweight cardboard and shown behind the screen. Second, arrowed puppets. These are flat cut-out figures stacked to a stick with one more movable parts and operated from below the stage level by a wire or a slender sticks. Next, hand puppets. These puppets are head operated by the forefinger of the puppeteer, the little finger and thumb being used to animate the puppet hands. Another type of puppets is globe and finger puppets. These puppets are used of old globes to which small costume finger attached. And the last type of puppet. Another form of dramatized experiences is role-playing. Role-playing is an unrehearsed, unprepared, and spontaneous dramatization of a let's pretend situation where assigned participants and absorbed by their own roles in the situation described by the teachers. So let's think about it. How are plays different from playing? Plays are carefully rehearsed performances that use proper costume and stage settings, while role-playing is unrehearsed and spontaneous dramatization. Second, why are plays not often presented in school? Because it requires a lot of time, effort, and preparation. 3. How can dramatized experiences help students learn? By engaging them to energizing activities that will allow them to participate actively, it will also engage the student into experiential learning, which is powerful and instructional learning. And the last question, what what's in it for teachers if they use dramatized experiences as a teacher strategy? Teachers will be able to deliver complex concepts in a simple manner.